Fast Force 289, welcome back. I'm Larry. Sorry for the poor lighting, but we're sitting in my truck for this one. So we're gonna be working on my 1976 Ford truck in this video. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we're gonna be doing and jump into it. Okay, so the issue that I have is we got to remove my instrument cluster here. And the reason why is because only half my dash lights are working. The back panel is cracked and broken, so we're gonna replace that back panel, and I'm gonna show you how to do that. So I don't know how well it's going to pick up on camera because it's so dark in here, but if you look close, you can see how half my speedometer is lit up, the other half is not. I got these two gauges are lit up perfectly, but then over here is completely black. So that's what we're going to be fixing. So we have got the instrument panel out now, and so now what we have to do is remove this front cover here. We have to pull this back in here off. Now, I've actually replaced this before on this truck because the original one just crumbled. It was just, you know, they use a cheaper material, and once they get hot, they crumble. So I've replaced this one before, but this one has broke, and it's got kind of a blue tint. It's supposed to be white, and the new one that I got is white. So it'll actually illuminate the lights better. Instead of having more of a bluer hue, it'll have that white reflective background to reflect the light better. Now I'm going to set this off to the side. And now we got to pull all of our gauges out of here and pull the circuit board off the back. And this right here is the reason why I'm replacing this, is this piece is broke out from my light, and it's not making good contact anymore, and it's causing me issues. I could probably rig something up that would hold this better, or to hold that one light better instead of replacing the entire piece. But I figure, for one, I want to get rid of this blue backing, which it works, but like I said, it makes the lights darker. With the white backing, it'll reflect the light better and help illuminate the lights in more of that greener, like a little bit lighter of a green instead of so dark. These are just protective caps so they don't touch anything metal and short out, because this is your battery meter and your oil pressure gauge. So. Now when you're pulling these out, you want to make sure not to bend your needles. So what I'll do is I will put one hand in here to hold the gauge while I'm taking the bolts loose. And very carefully just ease it out. And there we go. And now we have the oil pressure gauge out. And I'll just set that off to the side. And then you just want to repeat the same process for all of them. Okay, so once we got all the gauges out, now we got to remove the speedometer. And for that, it's going to be these two screws here. Okay, and then you have this gasket in here. You see it from in here. You gotta be very careful. We got to remove that because I'm gonna use my original one over. But that'll be okay. Okay, then for our constant voltage regulator, it just snaps on and off with these two, but I don't like to touch them unless I absolutely have to. So I'm not going to unplug it. I'm going to take it off as one piece with the circuit board. Now this will be ready to come out. Be very careful with it. You can see how mine is starting to come apart there a little bit, but it will be okay. It's fine, it's still usable. Lay this off to the side. Make sure not to bend it. Then the last thing I like to do is they give you new filters with the new piece, but they are new and they're too dark, and they really darken the lights down a lot. So I like to use my original ones over. And they just snap in, so you just pry them out very carefully. Just like so. And now we're done with this. So here's our new backing piece. There is the part number. And even though it has an E1 part number, it is for 73 to 79 Ford trucks. And you can see right back here, there's a D5 part number for 75 with gauges. So, and that is, make sure you get that correct, because there is a difference between ones without gauges and one with gauges. So first thing we gotta do is remove these filters. We're gonna snap our filters back in. They actually fit better than the new ones, honestly. And now we can put our circuit board back on. And I ordered this from Dennis Carpenter. I always order all my stuff from Dennis Carpenter when I can, because he makes the best product. Make sure not to over tighten any of this, because this is just going in the plastic. It will strip out, or you could crack it. So be careful not to over tighten it. And then from here, it's just a simple matter of just reassembling it the same way you took it apart. I usually start with my speedometer and just put everything back together exactly how it came apart. First, we got to put our gasket back in here, which is going to be a little tricky. Okay, so I've got all them put in now. So the last gauge is oil pressure. one thing to be mindful of, it is easy to strip these nuts out. They are only pot metal. They're not real strong, so they are easy to strip out. Run down snug. I always come back and double check to make sure that they are straight in there, that they're not crooked or at an angle. If they are, I'll straighten them up before I tighten them down. That looks pretty good. I only tighten them by hand, working back and forth. Make sure that it stays straight, which it did, and now that part is done. Now we can go ahead and start reassembling our lights. Don't forget our protective caps. And now, it's as simple as reinstalling our lens and front bezel. And just like before, I only hand tighten them. I do not use a wrench or anything like that. There we go. That is a done deal. All put back together and can't even tell it was ever taken apart. Now it's time to go put it back in the truck. Okay, so this is after installing that new backing and getting everything put back together. And you can see now we have full dash lights, and I don't know how well you can tell, but they actually are brighter now with that white backing versus that more of a blue backing that I had before. So now my dash lights are nice and bright again, and I got full gauges again, so that's good. I'm happy with that. It turned out really nice. Alrighty guys, well, that's all there is for this video. So that was a pretty it's an easy install. You just got to take the time to take your dash apart and take the gauges out of the back piece and out of the instrument cluster, and then just put it back together. But it's really simple, nothing to it. Just take your time. Be careful with those gauges because you don't want to bend the needles or anything or break them or anything like that. So yeah, just take your time and be careful, and it's a real easy job, nothing to it. So if y'all like the video, give me a thumbs up. I'd appreciate it. If you're not subscribed, consider subscribing. I'd appreciate that as well. And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, leave them in the drop box down below, and I'll get back to you as always. And that's all there is for this one. So until next time, I'll see you on the next one. Take care.